and we are filming. Hello, I'm Sarah, and this mysterious, ominous figure is...
My name's Patrick.
And we are here representing the MTCN review team for Michael the Comic Nerd, who is not here because he is at work. And we are going to talk to you about R.I.P.D. today, a movie we just got out of. Now, originally, you and Chris were going to see this movie and do this review, which I would have been curious to see because you like everything, and Chris hates everything.
Exactly.
So I think that would have been an interesting pairing, but instead, you got me because of schedules and stuff, so... So let's talk about R.I.P.D., shall we?
Sure. You can describe it.
Okay, so it's a buddy cop film. That's, in Michael's words, this is how he described it to me, a bit of a Men in Black ripoff, except replace aliens with what they call in this universe deados, who are dead souls who don't want to leave the Earth for some reason. They want to wreak havoc and cause destruction and typical villainous stuff. So in the first few minutes, we meet our leading man or leading character, who is this guy named Nick. Nick Walker, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is funny because Nick Walker is the name of one of my best friends. So it's like first and last name. It's like, whoa. Whoa.
Ah, that's...
It should have starred my best friend. That would have been cool. He would have done a better job.
Oh, so I don't even know who, what the name of this actor was.
I don't know.
I
don't remember.
I didn't catch the name of the actor who played him. If you really care, you can IMDb it later. So we meet him and his partner, played by William Dafoe. And spoiler alert. Yes, I'm doing the spoiler alert pretty early on, but if you like buddy cop films, you may get some enjoyment out of this. I wasn't overly thrilled with it. It was okay. I give it a C+, B- if I'm grading it.
I would give it a C-. I liked it because I like everything.
Yes, you do.
But it was mediocre and it was generic and it was just decent. It was forgettable,
yes.
But it wasn't awful.
Yes, I think that's a pretty good way of...
C-.
I think that's a pretty good way of summarizing it. I have a feeling that after 2013 ends, this will be one of those films that will be lost in the shuffle and be forgotten. This is just my opinion. If you like it, you can feel free to prove me wrong, but yeah, this is not a high art film. It is not an outstanding film. It's just kind of meh. So if you like fun meh type movies, then this is the movie for you, and spoilers from here on out in this review. So within the first few minutes, Nick is killed by his partner, played by William Dafoe. And because Nick and his partner stole some gold that becomes a major plot device later on in the film, Nick is kind of sent to this limbo or purgatory for cops because he needs to redeem his soul by serving as a spiritual cop or to try to rid the world of the corrupt souls known as deados. And we go further along in the film. He gets paired up with Jeff Bridges' character. Yeah.
Thank you.
Could you silence that, please? I'm sorry, I'm so easily distracted. And Jeff Bridges' character is a cowboy, and ever since True Grit, Jeff Bridges has proven that he can play a pretty good cowboy. And having the dude in your film adds a certain amount of cool factor and credibility. And if you don't know who the dude is, then you need to turn this review off and go watch The Big Lebowski immediately because it's a cult classic. But unfortunately, we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about R.I.P.D. And so Nick and Jeff Bridges' character get paired up and sent out onto the streets for their mission to kill Deados, and in doing so they stumble across more of this plot device gold, and it turns out that once the Deados have all this plot device gold and assemble it in a certain configuration and get a blood sacrifice, then it will reverse the polarity of the Judgment Tunnel, and all the damned souls will come down and wreak havoc on Earth. And it's up to Nick Walker and Jeff Bridges' character to stop it. You're thinking of your friend, aren't you, when I say that?
Shout out to Nick Walker. Nick Walker fighting bad guys and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and the Deados, the bad guys, it's pretty bad CG in my opinion.
Yeah.
We saw this in 3D, and I'm not a big 3D fan. The only thing that I've ever seen in 3D that I liked was when I saw Primus in 3D last year. Now, that was good use of 3D, and that was for a concert. Yeah. I'm not a big 3D fan. You can see this in 2D. It won't make much of a difference. I would categorize this type of movie as a dick flick, which is an action-packed kind of buddy film made for guys. Granted, I'm not the target demographic for this. Sorry if I'm stereotyping. Thank you. Yeah, towards the end, when Nick Walker and Jeff Bridges' character are headed to where the gold has been assembled. Oh, and major spoiler, Nick's former partner who killed him, played by William Dafoe, is a Deado and is pretty much the ringleader of this Deado operation to assemble all this plot device gold and bring all the Deados back to wreak havoc on Earth. Which, honestly, I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. What about you?
Yeah, it was so stereotypical.
It was so stereotypical. I mean, granted, William Dafoe makes a pretty good hammy villain, but it was so predictable. It was so easy to spot. So, yeah, a big shocker there, I guess. And when Nick and Jeff Bridges' character were, who I think his name is Roy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When they're on their way to where the plot device gold is being assembled, there's an action-packed car sequence which had a very Michael Bay feel, with all these cars flying around and all this CG and all these wind visual effects and stuff. So I don't know who directed this film. You can IMDb it if it's really that important to you. But it had a very Michael Bay type feel to it, I thought.
That was the part that just became overly generic, and I'm just like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, I leaned over to you and said, why is this reminding me of Transformers?
Yeah, it's just like all right. Like Jeff
Yeah.
Bridges' character basically held the whole movie because he's such a good actor.
Yes.
And he's funny just to listen to. Whatever he's saying, he oozes comedy.
And he does strike a few feminine poses, which did give me a bit of a chuckle. There is a reason for that, but yeah, I don't feel compelled to explain the reason for that because it's a series of cheap jokes.
Yeah, I think Jeff Bridges' dialogue was the highlight of the movie.
Yeah, very much Western type dialogue, which was an interesting contrast to see in modern day, I thought. And so they're on their way to where the plot device gold is being assembled, and again, spoiler, William Dafoe's character has gotten Nick's wife to be the blood sacrifice. Which is kind of a shame to an extent, because that just, I don't know, it basically makes Nick's wife's character no more than a plot device as well. She didn't get much screen time. She didn't have too many lines. She was very cute and nice when she was on screen.
Very cute. Very nice.
I really wish there was more to her character, but she was basically a means to the plot device goal towards the end of the film, which is too bad. But Nick saves her life, and they save the world by disassembling the plot device gold, and they have as happy of an ending as is possible when you are two dead souls eternally trying to rid the world of damned dead souls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty short. It's only an hour and a half long. There was only one other person in our theater.
Only one other person.
Yeah.
It was completely empty.
We totally had the opportunity to MST3K this, but oh well. Maybe another time. But I did make a Harry Potter joke when I saw the first Deado, the first bad guy, damned soul, and just the horrible CG just made me think of the troll from the first Harry Potter film. So I didn't make that joke. And yeah, have we missed anything?
No, I think overall it was mediocre buddy cop, Men in Black
Rip-off.
Yeah, it was alright. It wasn't awful. Jeff Bridges' dialogue saved the entire movie. But yeah, that's about all.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it either.
I've heard there's a pretty cool PC online game for it. I'm sure you could just search R.I.P.D. game and it'll come up. There's a dude in a band that I know, shouts out to Joe, who developed the game, and
Cool.
I've heard the game is amazing, so check it out. R.I.P.D. game.
Okay, so shall we move on to trailers?
Yes.
We got 2.5 silent films for our trailers. Granted, they were in color, but for some reason, for the first 2.5 trailers, the sound wasn't working, and you were getting refreshments during the first few trailers.
Yes, I was.
So, the first trailer, but I took the liberty of writing them down. So, the first trailer we got was Prisoners. Without sound, I couldn't quite tell you what it's about, but based off of the visuals, I'm going to say that it's some sort of family drama. And I'm not quite sure what else to say about it beyond that. So if it strikes your fancy, that's coming up. The next trailer we got was for Kick-Ass 2. I never saw the first Kick-Ass movie, but the little girl who swears a lot in the first movie was a topic of discussion in my mass media methods class at community college. And I asked my professor, would we even be discussing this if that character was a boy? And my professor said, no, of course not. So it was in relation to media ethics. And that's my memory reference for the first Kick-Ass movie. So this looks pretty standard. If you like the first Kick-Ass movie, you'll probably like this one. It looks very colorful, it looks very fast-paced. Granted, I didn't hear anything, so I don't know if any of the jokes are chuckle-worthy or not, but Kick-Ass 2 is coming out, so if you're a fan of the first film, there you go. Then we got Meet the Fosters, which the sound came in towards the end of that trailer. The sound started working, and pretty much started working when a teenage white boy was rapping Lisa Left Eye Lopez's rap from TLC's Waterfalls, and using that song must have cost the film production a pretty penny, because that's like TLC's signature song. But in terms of what Meet the Fosters is about, the only other person in our theater explained it to me. It's about some criminals and some kids who get together and pretend to be a family and hijinks ensue.
Basically.
Okay. And the last one we got in terms of trailers was a film called Runner Runner, and this was the only trailer we had sound for the entire trailer for. And it has Ben Affleck in it and some other people that I didn't recognize. And it follows this person who gets into the world of high-stakes organized gambling crime. And it looks very action-packed, and it actually looked kind of interesting. I may check that out when it comes out. You mentioned earlier that...
Oh, might be based on a true story. It looked like all the drama and the action parts were probably fake, but I know that I think part of that gambling site might have been real. Like, I think that I remember hearing about that gambling offshore thing, and I know it still exists. So I think that might have been partially inspired by a true story.
Quite possibly. And I like movies based on true stories because I like history. So those were all the trailers we got. See, since I wrote them down, we got all 4 trailers this time. We just didn't get sound for all 4 of them, but that was beyond our control. And you have anything else to say about R.I.P.D?
Well, Michael wants this review to be 45 minutes like his other reviews, so we're gonna read ESPN because he covers movie reviews really well, but he doesn't do enough sports reviews.
I don't know anything about sports. Won't that be kind of boring?
No.
Nah.
So Aaron Rodgers is the Super Bowl MVP.
Good for him.
Okay, so we're not doing sports apparently.
I didn't think you were that big into sports. I thought you were a concert guy.
I like sports and I don't care who knows.
Really? Okay. That's good to know. Maybe the next time a sports movie comes out.
I'll be ready.
There you go. Okay, so yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It was an okay film. It was an hour and a half long, which is short. And I'm Sarah.
My name's Patrick.
And thank you so much for watching. And if you like these videos, feel free to tell your friends and subscribe to Venom and Carnage, Michael's channel.